With travel coming back in a big way and a lot of us looking towards our next vacations, a lot of times we start looking towards Airbnb, short term rentals, vacation rentals, because we can save money on lodging costs, especially if we have a big family and need to get more bedrooms and we can all stay together, or we just want to have a kitchen or want to be in a residential area and not in a main area. Whatever the reason is, a lot of us are looking towards Airbnb for our vacation lodging solutions. But did you know that there are things you shouldn't do when you're booking your Airbnb? And these things will help you to actually save money on those costs even more than you think. Today, we're covering what not to do when booking an Airbnb and 6 tips for how to find cheaper rentals. So, you're ready? Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, I'm going to start with the things you shouldn't do, and then we'll jump into the tips for how to find cheaper rentals. So, the number one thing that you shouldn't do is don't be fooled by superhosts. Now, it's really tempting to go with a super host because it feels more comfortable. They usually have better ratings, they've been verified. But the truth is, they actually don't have to jump many hurdles in order to be a super host. Hosts simply have to have a minimum of 10 guests per year, they have to have a 90% response rate. 80% of their guests need to leave a 5-star review, and they need to rarely cancel guest reservations. That's all you have to do to be a super host. And what that gives you as an Airbnb host is that you go to the top of the search results and you get to charge a premium. This is the whole reason why maybe you might want to go superhost or maybe not. If you're looking to save money on your Airbnb, you can find non-superhosts that still have good ratings and good response rates, but might be a little bit cheaper than the superhost premium that they are able to charge. So I'm not saying don't ever go with a superhost because some of them are fantastic, but consider that when you're looking at your listings. If you can go with somebody who maybe isn't, still has good, strong ratings that you know you can trust, and might be a little bit cheaper because they don't have that superhost rating. The next is don't be unavailable. By that I mean you are reaching out to your Airbnb host. It's a relationship. It's not like a hotel where you make your booking and you never actually communicate with your host. You have to remember Airbnb are just people renting out their own spaces, their own homes. So the more rapport and response you have to the host, the more likely they're going to reciprocate that. So make sure when you reach out to them with questions or bookings or requesting to book something or even requesting a discount, make sure you are responsive, courteous, polite. You need to make sure you're available and you get back to them right away. You expect them to respond to you immediately. You need to return the same courtesy to them. Make sure that you're available when talking to your Airbnb host. The next is don't book immediately. And by that, I mean, don't just go to the first listing you find that has good reviews and book it. Because most of the time, if you scroll down, you're going to find other amazing properties that might be a little bit cheaper, that might be in a little bit better location, that whole superhost versus non-superhost, you might find more options. So don't just go with the first listing that you see. Also, in a second, I'm going to share with you 6 tips for how to save more money. So you definitely don't want to book until you've at least done those steps as well, and then you can feel more confident in making that booking. So don't just be fooled by the first listing. Make sure you actually go through due process and look through all of the listings, and that is going to be the way that you're going to find the best listings in the best locations for the least amount of dollars. Also, on that note, don't trust the first price you see. When you are on the main Airbnb scrolling page, it's going to say the listing and then a price, and it's going to say total price. That's not the total price, especially if you're not looking at specific dates. Like if you don't put any dates in on your search and you're just looking in a general area, that amount that it shows is going to be their cheapest amount. So if you are booking during a main, say there's a huge concert in town or some kind of big event in town or a holiday or something else, all of those times will have higher rates. Most likely they're going to raise their rates during when it's more busy and when it's more in demand. So those rates, first of all, if you don't have your dates in, are not going to be reflective of the true price. Also, those rates on that first page aren't going to include cleaning fees, taxes, local hospitality fees, or taxes. So you need to not just trust that price on the front page. You need to actually go into the booking all the way until where you would book the reservation to see what the true price would be. All right, so those are all of the things you shouldn't do. So now what should you do in order to save more money on Airbnbs? The first one is to book in advance. Now this really holds true for all travel in perpetuity. Usually if you can book it early, you can take advantage of cheaper fares because they haven't been booked up yet. The closer they are to being booked up, the more their prices go up. So you can usually take advantage of some cheaper prices if you book in advance, especially to the really popular places. There are some Airbnbs that are very well known, they're popular. They book out almost a year in advance. So the earlier you can book them, the better. Now, there is a caveat to that, which I'll talk about in a minute, where you might be able to save on last minute bookings. But in general, you want to book as far in advance as possible because it might come down to it and the last minute booking, everything you want is booked up, and then you're stuck with the worst Airbnb in the area. So it's a risk you have to gauge whether or not you want to take. The next one is to contact the host. So the hosts, again, like I said, they're real people renting out their own private homes or rooms, and they actually have the ability to discount their rates over what they have listed on their Airbnb listing. So a lot of times if you connect with the host first before you book it, and there's usually a little link where you can say message the host. If you reach out, maybe explain a little bit about what you're looking for, build a rapport a little bit, then when you go to say, perhaps ask if there's anything they could do about the price, any discount that they can offer you, you already have that rapport built, and it isn't just a wham bam, I want to go to your property, but give me $100 off. Like, that's not the way that you're going to get a discount. You need to build that rapport first, and they might just be willing to give you a little bit off of that rate. Now, there's some caveats to that again, of course. Again, build your rapport, but also the longer that you stay, the more likely they'll be able to give you a discount because they're going to make more money on you by staying longer. So if you're going to be staying, say 5 days, maybe say, okay, I'll stay a week. Can you give me a discount if I stay a week? Or I'm going to stay for a month. Can I get a discount if I stay for a month? You want to be able to give them something in order to entice them to give you a discount. Also, if there's a hardship, like for instance, if there's a medical reason or something that has you needing to stay in that Airbnb, most of them are very, very kind and generous. And a lot of times they will help you out if that's something that you need. And like I was saying, if you plan a longer stay, sometimes the bulk week rate or month rate might be cheaper than staying a few days. A lot of times they'll say if they have a longer stay, they might give you a better daily rate on that or a better bulk rate. So sometimes staying longer might be worth it. And that is when you can connect to your host and ask what the different options are and then make your decision from there. The next one is to try new listings. So yes, Superhosts, yes, looking at reviews is a great way to make your decision because people have been there. It's a legitimate listing. They had a good time. It was a good experience. Yes. But sometimes if you're wanting to save money, it pays essentially to go with the unrated people, the brand new listings, the people that are just putting their stuff out there. They need people to stay at their property, give them reviews so that they can move up in the rankings. So a lot of times these brand new properties, they usually charge less because they really need people to come and stay, review, and so on. So sometimes it's worth it to take a gamble on one of these new properties. Now, the best thing to do there, if you are going with a property that has no reviews whatsoever, is absolutely reach out to the host. And what you're checking for there is their response rate, how they handle you, how they work with you, and then also the listing, trying to figure out where it is until you feel comfortable with that property and that host that you want to go ahead and give them a try. The next one is to check the amenities. So a lot of these places have a lot of amenities to offer, and things such as Wi-Fi or perhaps free parking or kitchen are the things you absolutely want to have. But there might be things you don't need, like maybe you don't need a pool, or maybe you don't need access to the fitness center or something like that. So sometimes by looking at those listings, you can find cheaper listings that don't have all of those amenities that are unnecessary to your purposes, and you can save some money that way. So be sure to check the amenities and compare and contrast. You might be able to find something cheaper that just doesn't have a ton of amenities to offer. The next one is to pick the right location. Now, this isn't necessarily a way to save on Airbnb, but a way to save on your travel or your vacation in general. If you're picking an Airbnb that's closer to the things you want to see and do, you're going to be spending less money driving to those places or taking an Uber or something like that. And so that might be a way that you can save overall if you can find those Airbnbs close to where you want to go or on easy public transportation. Like say you're going to a big city, say you're going to London and you want to find a location right on a central tube line that you can get to everywhere you want to go easily. It will help save on your overall vacation costs. If this was helpful for you, if you could give us a thumbs up, that'll help us to help more people. And other than that, if you are traveling this year, these videos should help you out. And I want to thank you so much for stopping by. We will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.